All right, everyone. Episode 115 of the 580 show. We're back. First time having our full cast, our regular cast, I guess, in a while. So, what's up, boys?
Yeah.
Happening.
So, we'll start. A lot going on in Strongman, ourselves personally, and, just overall in Strongman. Let's talk about the Arnold first, since Dante and I are competing. Dante, how you feeling?
Feeling really good. First time going into a cut where I'm confident that I might not have to sweat 100%. So my body weight was good. I was 243 yesterday, and that's the lowest I've ever been in a competition prep. So feeling good that way. I'm excited, a little nervous for the Arnold. A bunch of weird events and everything we're not too used to. But I think the training that me and Josh have done has been adequate enough to get us in a good standing. So I think we're gonna surprise ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really excited. We both have, I think, 20 something people in our class. Um, and they announced, we never even talk about it in the podcast, but they announced Ukrainian deadlift is a mystery event. I like it. Obviously, you have to get to the finals to do it. But I think if you look at the events and the breakdown for the Arnold, I think the 7 events are cool. Like, I think they're unique. They're not a lot of cookie cutter, like standard strongman events. You got power stairs. Ukrainian deadlifts never in there. Max circus is kind of cool. What are your guys' thoughts on kind of like the final layout of the events?
Yeah. We kind of guessed a few weeks ago that it was probably going to be a deadlift of some sort. With the implements, the Ukrainian makes sense. So it's not surprising. It's not surprising.
Yeah.
Do you think it'll be like a max or for reps or what?
I feel like it's got to be a max.
It's almost hard to do Ukrainian for reps.
Yeah, it's kind of weird if you did it for reps.
Just because it's like it's almost like a hard implement to tell if you're like locked out or not. If you're doing like reps quickly, it's kind of weird on that front. We got our schedule too, which I'm a big fan of because it's like kind of bang, 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 like all in a row. Friday, I think it's like 1 to 5 is like the estimated like start times for each event. So we'll probably be there. Maybe it's 2 to 5. Yeah, 2 to 5.
Yeah,
We
Fatback
arrive at
started
like
too. We arrive at
yeah.
12:30. I have the schedule up right now.
Yeah, so I mean, we'll probably being realistic, it's like probably 2 to 7 or 2 to 8 on Friday night.
Yeah.
And then you just top 4 from each class and make the finals for Sunday.
I mean, even though it might run late, like it's not that big of a deal because even if we do make finals, it's on Sunday, not Saturday.
Right.
So you're still able to sleep in and not have to worry about like rushing around in the morning to get to the competition.
Is it really only top 4 from each class goes to the final?
Yeah, top 4.
I believe so, except for heavyweight, right? Heavyweight's 10.
Super heavies. Super heavies get 10.
Okay.
Every other class is 4.
Huh.
Which is cool. My class has the biggest one we've ever had at the Arnold, 22 guys when it's all said and done. So that's really, really awesome. 4 spots, 22 guys.
I mean,
that's going to be
231s have 2 less people than the 265 pluses, so the super heavies. And you guys only have 3 less than us. So these classes are pretty even.
Right.
Yeah. But we'll see. I had a couple people reach out after the podcast last week and show interest in dropping in whenever we record, whenever that'll be, maybe Saturday night or something. So I'll talk to those people and we'll talk about locations and stuff like that, like where we're going to be recording. Maybe have some people kind of drop in, have a rotating chair, do like an hour Arnold episode next Saturday night or something like that. So
yeah, we could just find like some spot in the convention center, even it's like pretty empty, and do something there, like an in-person one. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, it might not work just with sound and stuff, but we can give it hell. But we'll figure that out next week.
Right.
Strongman Corporation announced their nationals.
Erie.
So, Erie again. Sucks for everyone but us, really.
Sorry.
So yeah, they must have. I think the statement that Dante sent me said that they liked working with the Erie Sports Commission. It was a great venue, all that stuff. So they just decided to run it back for another year there.
Yeah, Julia said she just looked at her messages or emails, and that was like at the end of it. So I didn't see it anywhere else but that email. So
is it in like the newsletter or something? The Strongman Corp newsletter, something like that.
Probably,
I believe so.
I mean, whatever challenges you face this year at nationals are going to be the same thing. So prepare accordingly, right?
Yeah. Great if you competed this year for visualization.
Right.
It makes it easy to visualize what it's going to look like and stuff like that. But that's cool. I mean, obviously, I'm a fan because I live close, so have an MPA for us. But yeah, curious what other people's thoughts are. I like the venue, honestly. I did. I mean, I thought it was a pretty fine venue, pretty standard, and don't have any issues with it coming back. So
Mhm.
everyone can do Battle at the Bridge or our Northeast regionals to qualify for that.
Right.
Also, OSG had the online qualify for that European championship, but it doesn't really pertain to us because you have to be European to do it, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
But
But it is new. It is new, right? I don't think they've done that before.
yeah, and uh pretty standard online qualifier events. It's gonna be as online qualifier grows in strongman, it's gonna be hard to have like unique online qualifiers, right? Like you
Mhm.
want something that's gonna test static strength. You want something that's gonna test a little bit of cardio, like a sandbag over shoulder, stuff like that. It's hard to switch that up a lot. What was it? I think it was like a log deadlift, and what was the last one?
3-rep log, 5-rep deadlift, and a max stone or sandbag load.
Yeah.
Yep.
The
Which
shoulder.
is very similar to
I think it's a load. 250.
it's a
Oh,
load.
okay.
Yeah, I think it's a load.
Yeah, it's a load.
So yeah, which is pretty similar to what OSG's online qualifier was for last year, like for the official strongman games, because it was I think a 5-rep max deadlift,
Mhm.
a 1-rep max overhead, and then some sandbag or stone to shoulder.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
mean,
hard to venture on those, like you're saying, because you're limited to the equipment that people have. So you want to keep it.
yeah, you want
wanna keep-
everyone to be, you want as many people to be able to do it as possible, right? Like you come out and you do like a Viking press, it's like, man, that's gonna suck for a lot of people,
Right.
and it's can't really standardize that anyway, and like a lot of cool stuff in strongman that you really can't put in an online qualifier. So it
Right.
makes sense, but yeah, I mean, with all that going on in strongman, I mean, that's kind of keeping everyone busy for all your training for Akron Strongest Man, March 25th, little local show, also a
Yep.
national qualifier. So how are you feeling about that?
Good enough. I took a pretty long off season. I don't really like that term, but that's what everybody calls it. So I took a pretty long season to just focus on getting stronger because it's never a bad thing to be stronger. Probably didn't do quite as much moving as I should have through that period, but I was trying to focus a little bit more on conditioning too. So I feel like it went well. Doing a little bit different stuff than normal, like carrying a heavy sandbag for maybe distance for just to keep my heart rate up, try to keep rest periods down a little bit. I don't know, feel okay about it, but like I'm really kind of just now starting to ramp up and get very specific with training. So I got a few weeks to kind of hone in and get more familiarized with the events, but I'm pretty confident in them, so it'll be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna be the state rep there, so I may be your judge, Frawley. And we'll also have a booth. We'll have a horsepower booth there on site. I won't be running it, but Allie or Nick or someone will be running it.
Right.
But yeah, last week was a bummer because it was everyone. You guys couldn't be on, and then Allie was gonna be on, and then she literally like 4 hours before we are gonna record got like super sick, and there were like a ton of good questions lined up for us. So I just banked those, and whenever we have to do a podcast together, we'll have those at our at our disposal.
Yeah.
Expect a lot
But,
of YouTube content coming too. We got a lot of
yeah,
competitions and stuff coming up, so get ready for the vlogs. They're
Yeah.
coming back.
yeah. Good reminder to subscribe to 580 Barbell if you're not, because Dante and I were talking about that yesterday, and we're gonna have an Arnold video come out on YouTube, Akron Strongest, and a Maidens of Might, which Jolie and Mel, 2 members of our gym, are doing.
Yep.
So, yeah, we'll have like 3 videos in the next month.
Yeah, March is a bit.
Yeah. Also, you know what else they announced just today before we were recording is the locations for the other class shows this year.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So, and they announced at least the month that they're going to be in, and then some they announced the actual date. Um, the 90s men is in Roanoke, Virginia.
Okay.
So funny how like strongman just is always in like the like national, you know what I mean? Like these little funny towns.
Sure.
But yeah, Roanoke, Virginia for the 90s, and that's going to be on September 30th. Um, 80s, which I would love to be there. I hope to be there, is in Huntington Beach, California in August. So that's
Okay.
cool. Clash of the 64 women is in Colorado, June 17th. Um, and Clash of the 91s is back in Baltimore in on October 14th. So that's kind of the rest of the clash schedule. You know, obviously the main clash is in Hilton Head again this year. And yeah, I've since talked to Tyler Purdue since he's kind of taken it over. It seems like he's doing a really good job, and everything's on track, and hopefully Clash sticks around, you know.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I like the opportunities for weight class people. It's
Right.
great. It's never really been done, so hopefully it doesn't just kind of go away, and but he can continue to build with what's already been started. So
Right. I I'm curious what OSG is going to do this year. We've kind of talked offline about it. If
yeah,
anyone has information they want to let give us, but with regionals, you know, last year there was 3 regionals for OSG.
they were
And
already announced by now,
yeah, they were already announced at this time
or at
last
least
year.
the first one, and then we knew that the two more were coming. So if anybody has any information they want to share in the comments, I'd be curious to see what you know. It's
Yeah.
obviously speculation from our standpoint, but we don't
Are
know.
you like, if you guys had it your way, are you guys fans of um like the regional, or would you want it to be all online, or
I like the regionals personally
yeah.
because, like the, I mean, I'll use myself for an example. The only way, like my weakest event is grip for sure, and if like I'm training it and working to get better at it, but just the fact of the matter is, on an online qualifier, the only real way that you can test somebody's grip is farmers, right? I mean, I don't know
Yeah.
how else you could do it for an online qualifier. So not only like do people compete better in person, right? But there are weaknesses that might get exposed during competitions that wouldn't during an online qualifier. Like, let's look at the OSG qualifier last year. It was a max press, the 3-rep deadlift, and a sandbag or stone to shoulder. So if you're good at those 3 events, right, you do really well in the online qualifier, score a lot of points, and then you go, maybe there's an event you're really bad at, and it really hurts your scoring and your placing. You don't have that benefit of the doubt to work itself out through a regional qualifier.
Yeah, and I just like the idea of like at a regional you have to be more well-rounded. Pretty much what you're saying, you know.
Mhm.
Like you have to actually show up for all 5 events at a show, you know, bigger shows are 6, 7 events, 8 even sometimes. So like I think a full show can expose people, and you have to be well-rounded, and it's the strongest man or woman really always, you know, finds a way to come out on top at a show. An online qualifier, and also it's just the human in me, like always, like I always am skeptical of how people are like scales are different, people are maniacal. Like online qualifiers, I always like assume the worst in people, which I shouldn't, but you know what I mean. Like it's just
Now, with that said, I also don't want to see an online qualifier go away.
oh
Hmm.
no, no.
I
But
don't
I
want that
mean the thing, well, the thing is, if there is no regionals, I would assume, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the way it was 2 years ago, is there was top 20 for each class, and the online qualifier got it.
Hmm. I think it was more than 10. Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah, it
right.
might have been like 15 or 20 from the
Something.
online, because you would have to, because I mean, if you take the regionals away, you're losing 9 spots right there.
Yeah, because I know last year it was just 10.
Yeah.
2022 was 10.
Unless you're gonna give those bids to other people. They're like, "Hey, you know, the
Right.
podium from Northeast Regionals," you know, which they should do, is gonna get, you know, but something like that. That's what they would have to do,
I don't
So
know. Online qualifier is nice too, especially if you already have a laundry list of shows that you're already doing. You can't make the regional, so that's why I look
definitely
at it.
there's pros and cons to it. That's why I drew the question, because it's like, you talk about your week, like, or your year, if you're planning out, like Dante said, there's a lot going on, and then you also have to be a human. You have to
Mhm.
go to
Yeah.
weddings. You gotta, you have work, you have a life. Stuff comes up. So if you're planning on already doing your one show you do every year, in the summer, maybe it's more of a local show. You're planning on doing a nationals. Okay, so that's either in June or October, whichever federation you're competing in. And then if you want to do a regional or just another, that's just a lot going on.
Right. A lot of
For
money,
me, I'm looking to do
resources.
potentially USS Nationals and Clash
Right.
if I can get into Clash. So it's like, man, like that's.
Yeah.
So that's to Dante's, point. That's where an online qualifier would be nice for me, and it's anyone can do it. So
Right.
which is great. More people coming in and submitting stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah.
But I had a couple questions come up before we wrap this episode up, and I'm curious on your guys' thoughts and everyone's. So first off, I've been talking about this with myself, and I talked about it last week. But um, Hercules hold. Do you guys think it should be allow hook grip or no hook grip?
No,
See, I'm like going so back and forth on it, and people keep making good points either way. I just know on our Viking press how much of an advantage it is. Like, you know what I mean? You guys have used our Viking press. I mean, our Hercules
Hercules.
hold.
Yeah,
Yeah. And how much of I didn't hear what you said,
Yeah.
but yeah, like how much of an advantage it is to use it, like her grip, like hook grip.
Mhm.
I've never tried it.
It's like we have one guy that hook grips at our gym, and he went from 50 seconds, and then the same weight could only do 20 seconds. And it's like I get it, because it's like, well, everyone can do hook grip. So you know what I mean? It's like split jerk, push jerk, like anyone can do it. So like I got more feedback on it. If you didn't send me a message, send me your thoughts on it, because I'm just curious. That's just I'm just putting that out there again for if there's anyone new listening, because I want to get some more feedback on that, because I'm going back and forth.
I don't know if I have an opinion. Truthfully, I don't. Whatever. It's
Yeah,
like sometimes you're allowed a grip shirt, sometimes you're not. Like sometimes you're allowed
right.
figure eight straps, sometimes you're not allowed figure eight straps. It's just like whatever the rules are, the rules are.
Right.
I really don't care either way.
I mean, if you like doing hook grip and doing all that stuff, by all
And
means, and it's allowed, you go for it. But like Frawley said, it just depends on the promoter.
if you're good at hook grip, obviously you're going to be in favor of that, right? Like just kind of
Right.
how just kind
Yeah,
of
yeah. No, I'm just curious,
yeah.
because I get crap from our iron podium, because it says no hook grip for the Hercules hold. That's why I'm asking.
Sure.
But
I mean, if you want
I
to
had
get
a
if you want to get 5 extra seconds on the Hercules hold, by all means, use hook grip.
Yeah. Some people
yeah, it can help a lot though.
know.
It can help a lot. Um, but um, I had a really good question get asked about this, and how many novice classes do you guys think there should be at a show? Like if you guys are running a show.
2, if that, depending on the people.
I think it depends how many people you have. I can see justifying 3. Lightweight,
Yeah.
heavyweight.
See, I tend to be with Dante and have 2. And the reason is, like, I mean, if it's a smaller show, I would just do 1. And
Yeah,
my reason for that is because, like, Polar Express, we did 1.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sucks if you're a lighter guy,
Right.
but the point of novice isn't to be a novice forever. Like, you don't go into novice like chasing trophies and like podiums and stuff. It's to gain experience and then go into a weight class. That's kind of my thought with it.
I think if you have enough people, like it sucks when you're the 160-pound guy
Right.
show before competing against, like, for example, Polar Express, like Willie did Polar Express. He's 270 pounds, like he's probably gonna have an upper hand on you.
Mhm.
So like I can at minimum, I think 2, but if you have 6 people, you're not going to split 6 people up into 2 classes. You're not going to
Yeah, right.
split up into 3 classes. But if your novice class, let's say you have, I don't know, you have a big show, there's 40 people, you could probably justify 3 classes for that. If the weights line up properly, the body weights line up properly.
Mhm.
So like
Yeah, it'd have to be a big show.
it would have to
I
be
just The only thing that I've seen as a promoter that like it honestly, the reason I only had one class for Polar Express is because I had multiple people for Battle at the Bridge cutting weight to
yeah,
make novice.
you don't want that.
Because we had, I think our cutoff was like 200, I think. And that's what it is again this year. So like that's where my fine line is, like 200 under and over, because
Yeah.
it eliminates, like, for example, our friend Jimmy, who's a member of 580, he was, I think, 140 pounds when he did his first strongman comp. 150. I don't know. I troll about Jimmy's weight so much. I actually don't know what it is. I think it's like 150. But he's doing a novice, and he's going against guys that are literally over 300 pounds.
Yeah.
So it's like, at some point it is just like almost impossible for him to, be competitive there and
Right.
do anything. It's like, if you have an 80-pound circus. But then I go back to, it's like the goal is to not be a novice for a super long time.
Right.
Mhm.
But like I said, I thought that was a really good question. Someone just threw that at me from last week, and I
Sure.
thought that was a really good thing. And I think that's just a topic that you can talk. There's a lot of little things like that in strongman that you can talk all day about.
Right.
But like my advice would be, like, if I had a novice athlete and they were like, hey, I'm 212 pounds, should I cut to lightweight? I'd be like, absolutely not. Now, if you're 200, if you walk around, like truly walk around at 201 pounds, it's like, okay,
It's
it's
good practice.
literally 1
Yeah.
pound.
Yeah.
But when I'm running a show and weighing people in, and I see this dude that looks like he hasn't eaten a carb in, 2 weeks, and he just got done at a sauna.
Yeah.
And you weigh him in and you're like, what class? He's like lightweight novice. You're like, well, it's already dangerous enough to cut weight.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, there's nothing synonymous about novice and cutting weight.
Right.
Right. Like it's so I thought that was one of the better questions I've gotten thrown at me, in the last year or so with the podcast. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like you said, you could elaborate on that forever.
Yeah. Now, and like you did say, to be fair, if you have a show with 250 people, it's like,
You can
yeah, you
justify
might need 3, like that'll warrant 3 novice classes.
Yeah.
I think 3 is my absolute max though.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it more than that.
Yeah. But no, great. And then the last one that got more feedback from last week was, and this is, I go back and forth on this one too, but it's split jerking, push jerking on the Viking press.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that before.
Yeah. And I go so back, like I'm such a fence sitter with this stuff because people like send us great points.
Right.
I think like throughout the history of this pod, like the last few years, like we've said something, we've had like a strong stance on the pod, and then like a week later we can flip because someone makes a good point that we didn't consider.
What's the reason that people don't think you should be allowed to split jerk or push jerk?
The reason being, and this is actually, I saw CJ Pierce say this, who's one of the best pressers in America.
Sure.
And it made a lot of sense to me, is because it's already fixed. So the implement's already on a fixed, like rotational thing,
Sure.
whatever, fulcrum.
On a pivot point, yeah.
So like the beauty behind a split jerk and a push jerk, if you've ever tried it, you've probably looked stupid doing it like your first couple times, is because it's a free weight, right? Like, so you have to be very calculated, you have to be direct, precise, but like a Viking press, you can get away with just like, it can't drift on you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So it's already fixed. So like, I'm not explaining it great, but like, it's more for
The
a
load isn't
raw press.
unstable. I get what you're saying. The load's not
Yeah,
unstable.
yeah.
But like, so
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, the beauty of it, and I thought about this because I said for bridge and regionals, we have a Viking press. And I'm allowing push jerks, split jerks, whatever, but it's awesome because if you look at the footboard of our Viking press, you
Mhm.
really can't split jerk. You can try, but you got to be like really calculated to do it, like really calculated, because we don't have like this crazy wide freestanding thing. You can push, jerk, and push press
Yeah.
very comfortably, but I think split jerkers. So it kind of just going to sort itself out for us, just the
Yeah.
way our Viking press is.
Yeah.
You know, so
Wasn't
I'm
it
like,
the whole drama whenever Eddie and Thor were doing
Yeah.
World's Strongest Man? Was it what
Double
Thor
dipping.
dipped?
yeah, double dipping. Yeah.
So like he push jerked essentially, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. You're like catching it again.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I guess it goes back to what we are saying about hook grip, right? Like if that's World's Strongest Man and like Giants Live, if that's their stance, that's their stance.
Sure.
But like,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be mine.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I also look at it like just from like a functionality standpoint from running a comp, right? Like it's hard to judge that and be very consistent. Like,
Yeah.
oh, are you push pressing? Are you push jerking? Like sometimes people just have a really bad push jerk and it kind of looks like a push press. Or
Right.
as you get tired, your push jerk looks like. So it's like, to me, I'm going to make it easier on my judges and just, if they get the rep, they get the rep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah. So that's kind of just 3 topics that have been floating around with us. And I just want some more feedback on it and, just curious what other people say.
I got another one too while we're at it, since we're debating. Should there be deadlift suits? In
See, that's
general, that's another one, right?
Like in general
if it
or like
was-
for
In
event?
general, should there be deadlift suits in strongman? Period. That's the question.
If it was me, I would say no.
I agree.
I would say no.
I agree.
I think, but like, and I'm also looking at it from more of like a local competitor standpoint.
Yep.
Like, dude, so I trained for a suit for like 3 weeks, 4 weeks, one time. And the amount of work and people it took to get in and out of my suit, it's like a guy that trains in his garage, like, how the hell would he even do that?
Mhm.
But it's also just, it kind of sucks to explain to someone like my mom, right? Say she's watching and it's like, wow, that guy deadlifted 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what's that like big diaper tight thing he's wearing? And you're like, well, that's like a compressive suit that helps him lift more. And it's just like I'm not trying to shit on geared lifters, but like it makes it to the average person. And there's already multiply powerlifting.
Mhm.
So on the other side of the coin, right? The other side of the coin is the records were set with suits. So we can't, if you take them away now, it's even harder to hit a record, right? Like what
Right.
was it, 1104
Right.
or whatever?
Yeah,
Thor
whatever,
said,
5
or Eddie, whichever one you pick, whether it's Eddie or Thor, whoever has a deadlift.
Yeah, they're both in suits.
Right. They're both in a suit. So it's now that much harder to advertise people like in Giants Live in the deadlift championship. If you take them away, they're that much further away from hitting that weight. So I get it. But like you said, if I had my way, I would just say no suits. We're done with them. But
I'll never have a suit at one of my competitions. Like I can say that confidently.
and I don't fault anybody for using them when they're allowed.
No,
If they're allowed, I put one on for the OSG qualifier, but it's just it's leveling the playing field,
Right. That's what I'm all for. Like, I think that's one theme from the pod, like from this episode, that I realize is like, I just want an even playing field. That's why I like we talk about OSG, right? Online qualifiers. I think that's awesome. And keeping them pretty simple. So they're like last year's press, you could use an axle or a log.
or a
a barbell. So like anybody, you just need one barbell. So if you're lifting and you're thinking about competing in OSG, you're gonna have a barbell.
Mhm.
Like hook grip, not hook grip. Like I want it to all be. I just want everything to be like kind of on an equal playing field where like I don't ever want strength sports because strength sports are a misfits game.
Mhm.
Like it's people who maybe weren't as popular in school. Maybe didn't ever play a sport, maybe found it out of it's the first sport they've ever liked, found it out of a low time in their life and it helped them out of it. I never want to make strength sports like an elitist thing where you need tens of thousands of dollars to do something. So
Sure.
that's like a good theme that I thought from this episode is like you said it for like an even playing field. That's all I ask for, you know?
Yeah. That goes back to knowing the rules. Knowing the rules, even like whatever the rules are, the rules can be the rules, you know. But you have to, and if you know them, you need to play by them and not just be too proud, right? Like I'm not going to be too proud to put a deadlift suit on if I need to,
Right.
or learn how to hook grip if it benefits me, etc. You know, you got to know the
100%.
rules.
Yeah.
So,
It's just like I think about like a guy like going to OSG and maybe not in the best financial position.
yeah.
And it's like then they allow deadlift suits. That person's gonna buy a deadlift suit. Like everyone's you know what I mean? Like if
Mhm.
it's a max deadlift, you know.
Sure.
So it's like I like just having no suit and you deadlift in your basketball shorts and it's even no matter what. Doesn't matter who got the tightest short, the tightest, you know, suit or whatever. So that's
Sure.
a good point, Frawley.
Yeah, I figured I'd
But
throw it in since we were already debating stuff.
yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Dante, anything you want to debate about before we leave?
Do you still think dinosaurs aren't real?
I do not believe that dinosaurs were real the way we depicted them. I do believe that there were dinosaurs, just not the way we depicted them.
It's unbelievable. You used a Jurassic Park to advertise your pre-workout and don't even believe in dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Riley made that.
So
You still released it?
Today?
I think it's a great I think it's a great creative video that Riley made, and I applaud him for his creativity and his hard work.
It was a great video. Get your horsepower now, 580 barbell.
Yeah. I really appreciate everyone. Like it's been cool. It's been the last couple weeks have been so steady. Like been shipping out orders all the time. That's really cool. I don't have to ship down to Mississippi as much anymore because we're actually in brick and mortars, which is even cooler. Oh,
Yeah.
also, if anyone's interested, obviously this is your guys in this is me just inviting you to, but if anyone's interested, we'll have a Slippery Rock does like a fitness expo mini thing.
Yeah.
It's on April 1st and 2nd or the 31st and 1st, whatever that Saturday, Sunday is. And they do Mr. SRU, which used to be, I mean, when I was in college, it was a big bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
But they're having a powerlifting comp and a Mr. SRU, like having like a 2-day expo and horsepower. We'll have a 580, we'll have a full 580 booth there.
Sure.
So
Cool.
we'll be up with our boy Pork and Slippery Rock. So that's cool. Just having more and more, just getting us more and more places. Like it's super cool to be in a brick and mortar. Like to me, that's so cool. And like we're in a couple gyms now, so just appreciate everyone's support. And we'll keep adding products eventually, hopefully this year, and we'll keep you guys updated along the way.
You guys have any final thoughts before the Arnold, man? By
Crazy.
this release is like
It like kind of I kind of got like, dude, I felt kind of off this episode because I got a little nervous. Like at the beginning of the episode, I just got nervous for the Arnold for the first time.
Yeah,
because like I said it, we're opening, and I seriously felt off the whole episode because I'm like, man, I'm literally less than 7 days out.
Dude, it's like we're on a world stage. There's people from other countries gonna be competing with us.
It is cool.
Crazy.
Like, it's so like that is like so surreal because we've competed at nationals, and like for us, that's a big show. And this is Dante and I's both first world comp.
Mhm.
And like, let me just open up the spreadsheet real quick. But just looking at the countries that are at, you know, in my class, that are represented in my class, right? You have France, Norway, Canada, obviously US. You have Bahrain. You have like I think Australia. Like you have all these countries, and it's so cool and crazy to see. Just you know,
Yeah, I've seen some Zambia and Liberia.
No shit.
Yeah.
Canada.
It's just kind of funny though, because like right, you guys are training just like you train for any other show.
Yep.
right?
So like
Right,
that's it's like it's like a weird feeling, right? But that's awesome. I mean, I'm excited.
Yeah, like
I can't wait to go back.
yeah, and it's crazy because like you hit the nail on the head. Like we're training just like it's in like a normal event. Like nothing has changed for me. I come in, I eat the same. Everything's the same. I'm getting, and I really appreciate it, but I'm getting like so many more messages like, "Hey, you ready? You ready?" Like I'm like, man, I'm just gonna do my best. Like that's all I can do. You know what I mean? I'm just gonna show up like a normal show, no matter who's there. I've probably said this 100 times on the pod, but there's nothing I can do to make them do worse.
Yep.
I just have to do my best.
Right.
So
I also think
Dante
it's
and I are
cool.
gonna,
I
we're
was
gonna
gonna say,
show up Friday
oh,
and we're gonna just do our best for all 4 events, right?
yes, sir.
Go ahead, Dante.
I
Sorry.
was gonna say, I think it's cool. Just haven't been to the Arnold since 2019, so this is like a cool like comeback year too.
Right.
Yeah, it's just cool because the Arnold is so, for me personally, it's so nostalgic, and for so
hmm
many people, and it like I have so many memories at the Arnold, like
Yep.
when I first got into strength training. So like
Right.
getting to be able to compete there now, like when I first went to the Arnold, I didn't even know what strongman was, and
Yeah, my
now I'm competing strongman there. Dante was sitting for 3 hours waiting for Rich Piana.
dude, the first time I went there, we got a picture with Rich Piana, and then I saw what's his name, Jerry Pritchett break the deadlift record, the American deadlift record at the time. That was way
Yeah,
back when.
I remember that. Yeah.
yeah. I got a picture of Brian Shaw at my first ever Arnold.
Outside of yourselves, is there one person that you're excited to see how they do at the Arnold Amateur Championship?
Great question.
Outside of us, right? Like not us.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I'm like super biased. Like I'm just looking at my class. Like I haven't really looked at anything else,
Sure.
And
Yeah.
like I'll be just curious how ours will shake out because it's interesting because you have 22 spots, only 4 finals, and this is the most stacked Arnold class my class has ever had.
Yep.
And
hmm
you have the returning champ, Andrew Hanus, who's an absolute stud. Like
Yep.
I think no matter what, he's top 3 in the world for 80s for my class. But then you have Ben Donen making his debut at the Arnold, and he's just been on an absolute tear. He
Mhm.
goes and wins Clash,
Mhm.
wins OSG, and now he's coming to the Arnold for this. And like that, those two colliding, I think's cool. To kind of see how I'm curious how that's gonna go.
Mhm.
So that's kind of my thoughts. I'm excited to meet Ben Donen. I mean, he won't be able to understand what I say, but excited.
Dante.
I don't know. I haven't really done too much research on people. I mean, so I really don't know. A lot of these people are recognized from nationals though, so I kind of already have a
Sure.
feeling how they're gonna go. And I just
Ollie, who's your pick to win? Because I don't know any of these guys besides like Sean Schellinger because he's my teammate. But like I guess I'm most interested in the super heavyweights because the winner gets to compete on the big boy stage, which is so cool. Like that's
That's
so
where I
cool.
was going with this, dude. I want to see
So
how Candy
who's
does.
gonna win, Frawley? Make your prediction right now.
Man, I don't know. You look
Like,
at
who are we gonna see next year? Like, I remember watching when Bobby Thompson got to make his debut as like the 10th man.
yeah,
Like, that's awesome.
yeah.
Who
Um
is it? Who is it this year? Who won
Thomas
last year?
Thomas Evans.
Oh, Thomas Evans. There you
Yeah.
go.
That's where I was going with this. I want to see how Camby does with the heavyweights.
Oh, that's
That's what I
that's
want to see.
super. Okay, that's for sure the right
That's where I was
answer.
going. I want to see it's
Yeah,
gonna
that's
now and he can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I think this might be his first heavyweight or like first big heavyweight show, right?
yeah, big
Like
at least.
maybe he did a couple local shows, but like
Right,
I
right.
was like, yeah, man, I'm moving up. Let's do it. So
Yeah, that's cool.
so
That's
you look
like.
at
Do you think he'll make it out of the Do you think he'll make it to the finals?
that's what I was gonna say is if he does, he's incredible at circus, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I really don't. And I don't know. Maybe that's just because I have my eyeballs on him. I mean, there's a lot of good guys. Like we went through it at
Yeah.
the gym. We went through the super heavyweight class, and we're just like, holy shit, man!
Right.
Like boom, boom. All these guys are great. So obviously, I hope Sean does well competing against them at the regional here last year. So
Yeah.
but I really want to see how Candy does. I really do.
Yeah, that's cool. That's an interesting point. That's definitely the one that I think is the most intriguing on paper.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. So
yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I guess that's it. The next time you guys hear our voice, we'll be letting you know how we did at the Arnold.
Yeah.
we got one more thing. Happy birthday to Jerry.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Jerry, he's made an appearance on the pod before.
Yep.
Mhm.
But Jerry, one of our elder 580 members, and he's been there since like day one. He's ride or die 580. Couldn't be a better member. He turns 50. So we'll be at his party tomorrow.
Yep.
So if you follow Jerry Howison on Instagram, wish him a happy birthday.
Yep. Happy birthday,
Happy
Jerry.
birthday.
Great job. But make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, 580 Barbell. Follow us on Instagram, buy horsepower. If you bought a horsepower shirt or hoodie, Hossware just hit me up today. The 24th that they're shipping out today. So you'll have your shirt and hoodie soon.
Sweet.
But other than that, thank you guys, and we will see y'all next week for episode 116.
Later.
Peace.